The party had been planned for months, and by the time I stood in the living room watching everyone laugh, it looked like it was finally worth it. Soft music floated through the house, glasses clinked, and people kept telling my wife how beautiful everything was. I was smiling too, playing the role I had perfected over the years. From the outside, it looked like a celebration. Inside, it felt like a performance I had been rehearsing for a very long time. My name is Callum. I'm 43, and I've been married to Eliza for 12 years. The party was for our anniversary, or at least that's what the invitation said. Friends, co-workers, her family, even a few neighbors we barely knew showed up. Eliza moved through the room like a host on instinct, laughing, touching arms, making sure everyone had a drink. She looked radiant, confident, untouchable. People always loved her energy. I used to love it too. I stood near the kitchen counter, refilling bowls, wiping imaginary crumbs, doing something with my hands so no one would ask why I was so quiet. Over the years, I learned that silence was safer. Whenever I tried to talk about how I felt, Eliza would tilt her head and smile that tight smile, the one that said she was already done listening. Tonight wasn't the night to start anything, I told myself. Just get through it. Early in our marriage, nights like this felt different. We would sneak into the bedroom just to breathe for a second, laughing like teenagers. She would squeeze my hand under the table, and I would feel chosen. Somewhere along the way, that stopped. The touches disappeared. The conversations turned practical. Bills, schedules, appearances. I became reliable furniture in a life she was busy curating. People began gathering closer, tapping glasses, hinting that it was time for a toast. Eliza looked at me with raised eyebrows, silently telling me to say something sweet. I nodded. Of course I did. That's what I always did. I took my glass and walked toward the center of the room, feeling the familiar weight in my chest settle into place. I cleared my throat, and the room slowly quieted. Dozens of faces turned toward me, smiling, expectant. For a moment, I considered lying, saying the lines everyone wanted to hear, thanking Eliza for being amazing, talking about love and partnership and all the words that sound good in photos. I even opened my mouth to do it. Instead, something else came out. I said I wanted to thank everyone for coming, and meant it. Then I paused. The silence stretched longer than it should have. I felt Eliza's eyes on me, sharp now, questioning. I told them that the party looked perfect because Eliza was very good at making things look perfect. A few people laughed softly. I didn't smile. I said that perfection, though, has a cost. That sometimes it comes from ignoring cracks until they spread. I talked about how easy it is to celebrate milestones while quietly mourning what was lost along the way. The room shifted. Smiles faded. Someone coughed. Eliza whispered my name, but I kept going. I said that for years. I tried to be the husband everyone praised. Steady, supportive, invisible when needed. I said I learned how to shrink myself so the picture stayed clean. How I stopped asking for affection because rejection hurts more when you keep hoping. My voice stayed calm. That surprised even me. Eliza told me to stop. Her face had gone pale, anger flashing behind her eyes. I looked at her then, really looked, and realized she was more worried about the room than about me. That clarity felt strange and steady. I said I wasn't trying to embarrass her. I was done embarrassing myself. I told them this wasn't an anniversary celebration for me. It was a goodbye to pretending. I said I didn't know what came next, only that I couldn't keep applauding a marriage that existed mostly for other people. No shouting, no insults, just truth, spoken too late and too honestly. The room was silent. Someone set a glass down too hard. Eliza stared at me like I had become a stranger, which in some ways, I had. I placed my glass on the table and said I hoped everyone enjoyed the rest of the evening. Then I walked toward the hallway, past faces frozen between shock and curiosity. I grabbed my jacket from the bedroom chair. My hands were steady. I heard Eliza arguing with someone in the other room, her voice sharp and controlled. She didn't follow me. That hurt more than if she had yelled. I stepped outside into the cool night air, breathing deeper than I had in years. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I wasn't staying. The house behind me glowed with light and music, still perfect from the outside. From the driveway, it already felt like a place I used to live. I sat in my car for a moment, letting the quiet settle. That night wasn't about ruining a party. It was about finally refusing to clap for a life that never clapped back. I drove away without drama, without a plan, but with something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. I spent the night driving aimlessly through familiar streets, replaying moments I used to excuse. Every red light felt like a pause I never allowed myself before. By morning, messages flooded my phone, confusion, anger, concern. I ignored them all. For once, I chose silence on my own terms. Whatever came next would be difficult, expensive, lonely even. But it would be honest. And that, finally, felt like enough. I don't know how the story ends yet, but for the first time, it belongs to me. Not an image, not an audience, not a marriage that required my disappearance to survive any longer or suffocating myself.